today, guys, I am going to be reviewing Day of Crafting Z Pixel Mining Survival. Now, I've heard this game is, well, I've heard it's pretty bad, so let's get right into it. Dude, I can't do this anymore.
Can't do what anymore?
I can't do this. Any of this. Sitting here getting more and more depressed. I can't do it. Air control, wild animal racing, worst case C. I can't play these games anymore.
Come on, man. Don't be like that. I'm sure, like, Day of Crafting Z Pixel Mining Survival was pretty good. Okay, I see your point.
I've made up my mind, man. I've had enough. From now on, no more games.
No more games? But what about Indie Bin?
There is no Indie Bin anymore. It's finished. Come on. I'm done.
What?
I'm finished. Come on.
Well, you can't be serious.
No, get the camera and get out. Come on. Dude. It was nice.
What?
But it's over with. Come on. No, seriously. Open the door. I'm done.
But what will I do?
I don't know. But
what?
You're just no. I can't do this anymore, man.
What?
I can't. Seriously. Sorry.
You could have at least paid me. Well, that's over and done with. No more games. What will I do instead? How about books? I've made a terrible mistake. What the hell? Oh, why do the elves insist on going down the chimney? Who are you and what are you doing in my house? Seriously? Red suit, fat guy, hat, doesn't give it away. I'm Kris Kringle, Father Christmas, jolly old Saint Nick. Hold on, you're Santa Claus, as in the Santa Claus.
Yep, I'm Santa Claus, alright. No bones about it. And I'm here for you, Alex.
Me? Why me?
Because you're feeling down. At Christmas of all times of year. Christmas is a time of happiness and merriment. So I decided to... Hold the thought. Oh, that's better. So as I was saying, I decided to come and cheer you up.
And how exactly do you plan on doing that?
With this. The most Christmassy indie game I could find.
Undertale? Well, sorry to burst your bubble, Nick, but I've already played Undertale, and replaying it won't have the same effect as... What the fuck? Santa, no! No! Oh, God, my head. Undertale? What the hell's that?
Yes! Undertale. A game that I decided to get you to cheer you up. Why don't you give it a go?
Sure, I guess. Couldn't be worse than the rest of the shit I've played this year.
Lovers of the RPG genre will feel right at home with Undertale. Immediately I'm getting a sort of Earthbound vibe from the game. From what I can tell, the story is founded on some past war between monsters and humans. When the humans claimed victory over the monsters, they sealed them away underground beneath a barrier. Those that climb to the peak of Mount Abot never return, since they fall through the barrier and into the mythical underground. I guess that's what's happened to us? Oh, well, here I am, I guess. This is me. Graphics aren't anything special, are they? Pretty simple and basic. Earthbound was better than this, and hey look, a flower! Flowey the flower! How creative. Well, what a nice guy showing me love and friendliness pellets. Isn't that just swell?
Oh, what the fuck? This is just teaching me to hate flowers.
I'm fucking watching you, flowers. I'm watching you. Thankfully, a passing, goat lady saves us from the rather violent flower creature. Sentient flowers, giant talking goats. Undertale's taking the draw a face on it sort of character design, like everything in the Mario universe. This is only the very beginning of the game and I'm already confused. There is a sense of mystery though. With the basic story already given to us, the idea of travelling through the underground sounds like something straight out of a Greek epic, doesn't it? I wouldn't expect a game set in what is basically a cave to represent Christmas, but I don't know, I guess Santa knows best. This goat lady is called Toriel, who seems to be rather friendly and overprotective of us. I guess she acts as a guide at the beginning of the game, showing us puzzles and how to fight. I say fight, the game so far has shown me that physically attacking monsters isn't necessary. Acting in a certain way with monsters will have them show mercy, and in turn, you do the same, sparing the monster and avoiding conflict. From what I can tell, this is unique to Undertale as an RPG. Not having to fight monsters, having a more pacifist choice is quite refreshing. The ruins aren't much to talk about, simply just a way of showing off the game's mechanics with a few puzzles. I mean, I brought a donut from a spider and found a mouse hole. But all I can think is, how do we get out of here? I mean, a human child fallen into the world of monsters, surely they'd want to go home. But when we ask Toriel this, leads to a standoff. Look at the narrative here. They come, they leave, they die. So this wasn't the first fallen human then. They were killed. Why? And who's Asgore? Asgore, could there be a scarier name? But we have to leave, we have to go home, we have to fight Toriel? What? Is this some sort of sick joke? The game introduces Toriel, this loving, nurturing woman who protects you and loves you and gives you a sick new cell phone, and we have to kill her to continue? How Freudian is that?
No, I refuse. I'm not doing it. I ain't doing that.
I guess I'm finished then, because I'm not going to just brutalise her. In every other way we've been able to act our way out of conflict, but here it's different. I can't do anything apart from fight, and I know that's what the game wants. I refuse. I'll die then. Review over. Screw Christmas. How does this show me the joy of Christmas and the meaningfulness of games as a whole when I'm forced to do something I don't want to do? I mean, what's the point of... Oh, sweet catharsis. Toriel can't do it. She can't kill us. Thankfully. Be honest, where would you see this sort of hard-hitting emotional twist so early in another RPG? It's brilliant storytelling and it sets the mood so well. Earthbound told the tale of growing up and becoming an adult. Undertale's managed to convey the message of progression by breaking away from maternal comforts to face a wider world in the first 15 minutes. And with that, we exit the ruins alone.
How can you be eating at a time?
It's my favourite part.
And where did you get those fries? How?
That's hilarious.
Genocidal flowers, goat mothers, and now prankster skeletons. Sure, I can get with that. Sans seems to be the driving force of the comedy found in the game, along with his brother Papyrus. As a comedy duo, these two really shine through. Sans being a laid-back, jokey brother, while Papyrus is the earnest, hard-working yet rather clumsy sibling. Through the next segment of the game, we're challenged by Papyrus to solve his various puzzles, all the while being observed by Sans, who's more than content to watch his brother hard at work, trying to foil our progress. To say the shift in tone is rather jarring would be putting it lightly. All the meaningful story built up to this point is dropped for this light-hearted romp between two brotherly skeletons. And all of this seems to be pretense. There's something deeper here. It's like telling each other jokes in a hurricane. It's a spot of comic relief from the ingrained feelings of hopelessness and hostility the underground brings. After passing all of Papyrus's various trials, he decides it best that he confronts us directly. We're told his dedication to capturing a human is for a promotion to the Royal Guard. That way, he'll gain popularity and prestige. He'll be someone everyone wants to befriend. And this is where the game ramps up. From here on, it's been snowflakes and hobnobs, but Papyrus here treats us to a nice warm plate of dick, because we're fucked before things really get underway. Papyrus is the first challenge when it comes to an encounter. Furthermore, we're introduced to blue mode, where our soul falls to the bottom of the bullet box, this thing the soul moves around in during encounters. This requires jumping over attacks, and god is it tough compared to previous fights. Unlike regular monsters, Papyrus is a boss monster, so instead of acting in a way to achieve mercy, we must simply endure his attacks as we did with Toriel, while having to listen to his gloating. But his internal conflict is told in between turns of the battle, where Papyrus goes from selfish to a lot more sympathetic. While many RPGs wallow about in level grinding and gear acquirement, Undertale is a game where the story holds pride of place. And in a single player game, that's to be expected. A good story is the driving force of any RPG. A great story though, one that is so integral to the game and yet pulling it off in such a non-intrusive way, it's so joyful. Eventually we get through the battle, and because I was simply exploring the act options of the menu and accidentally flirted with Papyrus, who kind of got the wrong idea, well now I'm dating a skeleton.
Fight this human anymore. Yeah, I've forgotten what I started fighting for. Yeah, it's time to bring this ship into the shore and throw away the oars. Yeah.
After Papyrus and I are done, boning, we proceed to Waterfall. I love the change in tone once more. The town of Snowdon was so happy and welcoming, but Waterfall is a dark and mysterious place, somewhere the monsters seem to go to reflect on what's happening around them. Ancient glyphs on the wall recount the human-monster war and give us a look into the lore of Undertale, the power of humans and the weakness of monsters, the souls of humans stronger than that of their monster counterparts. According to these stories, monsters have the ability to absorb the power of souls, and if one ever managed to defeat a human, the resulting fusion would be unimaginably strong and fierce. That's what sparked the war, a fear of something unknown, a premonition of what could be, perhaps even a lack of trust. The humans attacked the monsters for what could have been, and eerily, This mirrors conflict seen in real life. As simplistic as graphics are in Undertale, they're enough. Now that doesn't sound like much praise, and I guess it isn't if I'm honest, but I like how simplistic everything is. As basic as the sprites are, the environments are rich in detail and colour. Not to mention the atmospheric and fitting sound design, as well as the sheer masterpiece that is the soundtrack. Undertale gives us enough to see that it doesn't distract. Bullet board animations are quite comedic and very fitting per encounter. Out of combat animations do well to convey emotive arcs, and each overworld sprite gives us an accurate representation of the more detailed art used for characters within combat. Just look at this scary knight for example. Throughout Waterfall, we're silently preyed upon by this dark, heavily armoured attacker, throwing spears and setting traps as we try to survive the onslaught. It's great action without going into a combat situation. It keeps things very fresh. But as we're cornered, we fall into a pit, and then...
What was that?
Spoilers.
Yeah, but no one found me when I fell.
Shut the fuck up.
You scare me.
I wish I knew what was going on. It's all very confusing. One minute I'm fleeing from some night guy, and the next I'm wallowing through a floating rubbish tip. This game is making me feel stupid, making me feel like a dumb...
Oh, fuck. Jesus.
Oh, man, I love this song.
What song?
Post-fight with a living dummy, don't judge, I've fought a night dog, a furry and a camp skeleton up to this point, we're chased by a mysterious figure looking to destroy us. While back in the snowy parts of the starting forest, we were presented with puzzles from Sans and Papyrus. Waterfall does the same sort of thing, albeit unaided. Nothing is truly that difficult, a few paths we need to enlighten and some escorting of a rather needy monster kid. This is another point about Undertale's characterisation. The way it weaves into the whole experience is so earnest. Monster Kid here is a big fan of Undyne, the darker knight trying to kill us. To them, Undyne is a paragon of good and justice, someone to revere. Even in their immature young mind, Undyne can do no wrong. Things are rather black and white to them. And yet, when we're confronted by the child at the bridge, they work out that our character is human, and historically, humans and monsters have not had very peaceful dealings. Yet for all the past transgressions of humans and monsters, the child cannot seem to hate us. Further still, when it falls from the bridge and we decide to help it back to safety, the child not only cannot hate us, but it turns upon Undyne, their hero. It shows us that things aren't always as clear-cut as people think. It's a powerful message against prejudice, delivered in such a swift and humble exchange. It's social commentary done right. It's a depth to the narrative that's empathetic, something that we can identify with. But further ahead, we are confronted by Undyne once more. Undyne elaborates that King Asgore requires 7 human souls to become a god, which in turn will free all monsters in the underground by destroying the barrier once and for all. And that Asgore has 6 souls. Before us, 6 humans fell. They come, they leave, they die. And it's our character's destiny to have their soul taken and used as the liberation of all monsters. Papyrus's motivation to capture us was to become a member of Undyne's royal guard, and now, Undyne's reason is to help King Asgore free all of monster kind. Understandably affected by the treatment of monsters by humans, Undyne is clearly angry, clearly enraged, and clearly... a woman?
Mind fucking blown. I would have never guessed that. I would have never guessed it was the plot twist of the century. It's like when I found out that Samus was a woman, or Knights was a man, or Genji was a fucking joke!
God, this music is hyping me up. Fine then, Undyne. Let us fight. I shan't go easy on you. A new attack mode? Green? I can't escape, so I must stand my ground? That I shall. I shall face you head on. I am not afraid. Your attacks do not frighten me. Your abilities are weak. Take your best shot. Sure, you graze me, but I can still fight. I can still beat you. I can still... Oh, thank God, let's get the fuck out of here. After a few tactical retreats, my brilliant strategy, not based entirely on blind luck, succeeds. With Undyne led into the next area, Hotland, the heat of her armour causes her to collapse. Yeah, you take that, you spear-throwing, gill-having fish bitch. Saving the monster kid at the bridge was a choice, as is giving Undyne some water to save her from the unbearable heat. Sure, it's not complex multiple choice or really hard-hitting decisions, but Undertale isn't about that. It's about the little things, the simplest acts of kindness and caring. Besides, since Undyne seems to hate all humans, why not hit her right in the karma by showing her we're not so bad after all? Immediately from Undyne, we're directed to a strange laboratory where our face is shown on a monitor at the entrance. It's a bit odd. A reclusive reptile known as Dr. Alphys appears and greets us. She was charged with killing us early and yet she couldn't. It's almost as if the monsters have a similar moral code to humanity and don't wish to cause harm without some sort of reason. Alphys soon tells us that, as royal scientist, she created a killbot called Metaton. Originally a creation of entertainment, a TV star meant to spread joy and happiness to the inhabitants of the underground, Alphys installed anti-human combat features at the behest of King Asgore, which is where Metaton makes his entrance. From the coming sections between Alphys and Metaton, the game shows off another strength in its narrative: true comedy. And when I say true comedy, I mean the sort of well thought out, natural and character appropriate comedy, not the slapstick shtick of games like Octodad or the politically incorrect joviality of Postal 2. I'm talking well scripted, clever humour, which is a good balance between great set pieces, timing and a thoughtful script. To take one type of example, Metaton is a constant blockade to your progress in Hotland, but every encounter is such a strange scenario. At one point he ambushes you with a cooking program, the next you're on a news channel, there's even one scene with a romantic play. Not to mention the platforming puzzles we have to go through, and some shooting games that are genuinely quite tricky. Getting through Hotland is a task. But eventually we make it to the end, where there's a spider lady who tries to sell us some food. For 9,999 gold? Fucking rip-off! I don't need your overpriced trash. I will excuse myself before I escalate this confrontation. Good day, madam.
You should have bought something.
Yeah, thanks, Santa.
Looks like you're in a sticky situation.
Stop!
What's nice about this fight, apart from the truly amazing music, if you're clever enough to have purchased something from the spider bake sale in the ruins at the very start of the game, thereby supporting local spiders, with the foresight to consume the item during the battle, the spider lady just lets you go. There's plenty of times in the game where certain items will trigger events in battle, with the others being rather more difficult to discover, probably in your second or third playthrough. Still, it's an interesting inclusion to the game, even if it is optional. After the spider lady is dealt with, we reach MMT Resort, a hotel created in Metaton's greatness. And it's here where we're led into the core, a place that supplies the underground with geothermal power. But it's in the heart of the core, after a few rather tough upgraded versions of old enemies, that we face Metaton directly. He reveals that every encounter we've had with him up until this point was set up by Dr. Alphys herself, a lonely introvert desperate to be a part of something greater. Alphys had acted in ways to save us from Metaton by coming up with plans or deactivating certain traps, but Metaton decided that instead of following Alphys's grand routine and letting us save the day for good, he'd rather kill us, steal a human soul, and use that power to simply pass through the barrier to achieve the fame he's always wanted with humanity. What a plot twist! Luckily for us, Alphys calls up about the failsafe switch on his back, which, when pressed,
Oh, yes.
Oh no.
Well, this is getting a little too weird for me. Send her out.
Oh, come on, don't just leave me here.
No, I'm done. Come on when you've defeated the fabulous Terminator.
and Jesus Christ, Metaton is hard. Further still, the battle isn't even about beating him either, it's more about achieving ratings of over 10,000, and to that end we can act in certain ways like posing, boasting about not getting hit, and jeering on the crowd to hate us, which improves the ratings by our actions on the bullet board. Again, it's another way Undertale keeps the combat exciting. And with a lot of hard effort, crying, and more concentration than I've ever expended, Metaton takes a break from the fight to take calls from his viewers. Calls that speak of remorse that Metaton plans to leave. That the robot brought happiness and joy to the hopeless and helpless monsters of the underground. That in the dark and the cold, it was his show and his personality that made them smile and kept them going. That Metaton had become more than himself. And, in a moment of clarity, he decides that to betray his public who clearly love him for his own gain is selfish, so he chooses to stay before his batteries run out, letting us proceed. It's heavy stuff. One moment we're flaunting about in a battle of viewership, and the next we're told of heartache and grief of the monsters about to lose their hero. No matter what joy is to be found in Undertale, the overarching suffering of the monsters is shown to us in sentimental segments designed to bring us back down to the reality of the situation. And when we reach the elevator to Asgore's castle, Alphys tells us another shocking truth, that we cannot pass through the barrier alone. Only the power of 7 human souls, or the fusion of a human with a monster soul, would be strong enough. Meaning, we must kill King Asgore. And, atop the elevator, we come to a familiar looking home. A colourless, happyless home. New home.
A long time ago, a human fell into the ruins. Injured by its fall, the human called out for help. Azrael, the king's son, heard the human's call. He brought the human back to the castle. Over time, Azrael and the human became like siblings. The king and queen treated the human child as their own. The underground was full of hope. Then, one day, the human became very ill. The sick human had only one request, to see the flowers from their village, but there was nothing we could do. The next day, the human died. Azrael, racked with grief, absorbed the human soul. He transformed into a being with incredible power. With the human soul, Azrael crossed through the barrier. He carried the human's body into the sunset. back to the village of the humans. Asriel reached the center of the village. There, he found a bed of golden flowers. He carried the human onto it. Suddenly, screams rang out. The villagers saw Asriel holding the human's body. They thought that he had killed the child. The humans attacked him with everything they had. He was struck with blow after blow. Asriel had the power to destroy them all. But Asriel did not fight back. Clutching the human, Asriel smiled and walked away. Wounded, Asriel stumbled home. He entered the castle and collapsed. His dust spread across the garden. The kingdom fell into despair. The king and queen had lost 2 children in one night. The humans had once again taken everything from us. The king decided it was time to end our suffering. Every human who falls down here must die. With enough souls, we can shatter the barrier forever. It's not long now. King Asgore will save us all. You should be smiling too. Aren't you excited? Aren't you happy? You're going to be free.
Survival. That's all this was. Survival. Them or us. Without the souls of humans, Asgore would never destroy the barrier. And without killing Asgore, we would never escape. Soon you realise that this is faultless. It's a fear. Fear of being trapped underground for both the monsters and for us, a lost, solitary child. And as personal and as meaningful as this should be, Asgore seems to be complacent. Awkward, sullen, strangely laconic with his rather pleasant small talk. Hesitant. And as we meet him at the barrier, at the final hurdle, he shows only regret. As a final act of what seems like a cruel, unwanted fate, Asgore destroys the mercy option, and we must fight him. As a final boss, Asgore is exceptional. He makes use of attacks we've seen from Toriel, and his moves convey several soul modes we've seen before, like blue static attacks and orange mobile attacks. Matching the challenge is the wondrous soundtrack he's given, a theme befitting of a monster king, loyal to his people and strong in his conviction. Slowly, torturously, his health ticks away with every swipe, his attacks faster and deadlier than before. Even a bite of familiar butterscotch pie, I'd say, from Toriel isn't enough to dissuade him from the fight, but it lowers his defense. After a feast befitting an army and several retries, Asgore goes down. He tells of his remorse, of his will to see his people smile, to bring hope into their lives once more, that he misses his wife and his child, one that left and one that died. But it's time for the final blow. No, I can't. I won't. I don't care. It's not right. Let's just stay in the underground, live with Asgore and Toriel. This place doesn't seem bad. We don't need to leave. We're home. Let's just...
What? Why'd it crash? Santa? 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 Hello?